Chrisley receives shocking probation change. Chrisley Knows Best alum Chrisley has received a shocking probation change. She had a resentencing trial in September 2024, but that left her and her family heartbroken. So what happened with probation? Keep reading for all of the details and fan reactions. Chrisley receives shocking probation change. Chrisley's family was very optimistic when her resentencing approached. They were hopeful that she could get lucky and even be released within the year. Sadly, that was not the outcome, so they had to keep their heads held high and look toward what they could do next. She and her husband, Todd Chrisley, were sentenced to a collective 19 years behind bars for tax evasion, fraud, and conspiracy. They entered 2 separate prisons in January 2023, with Todd in Florida, while Julie is serving time in Kentucky. Julie is going to keep fighting, and her family still will keep praying that she and Todd come home sooner rather than later. Their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, has been very open about prison life and the trial. She talks about the abuse her parents have endured, especially on her father's end. Furthermore, she guides fans and followers through all the steps of how her parents communicate, even if they are limited. Now she is opening up about her mother's shocking probation change. In a twist, it was extended by 2 years. According to Monsters and Critics, Savannah shared her heartbreak over this news on her Unlocked podcast. Immediately, fans and followers of Savannah's were blown away by the news of Chrisley's extended probation. They chimed in with their thoughts, and they agreed with her daughter. Make it make sense. Fans spoke out in favor of Chrisley after Savannah Chrisley shared her heartbreak over the shocking probation situation. They failed to understand why this was happening and felt this was the incorrect punishment. That judge is wrong. She's doing this out of hate and meanness. We all know the sentence does not fit the crime. That is crazy. People who do worse get less time. Praying for you. I don't condone what Todd and Julie did, but adding 2 more years to her sentencing is wrong, especially when she's been a model prisoner. Hopefully, Savannah will take solace in all of the support she has been receiving and see that many do not agree with this drastic change. As one person said, they may not agree with the crime, but this extension of 2 years is completely unnecessary. Chrisley, the matriarch of the Chrisley family, found herself at the center of a legal whirlwind once again, this time with a stunning change to her probation terms. Following her conviction in 2022 for federal tax evasion and conspiracy to defraud the government, Julie, along with her husband Todd, faced a slew of legal consequences that rocked the family's seemingly perfect reality. While Todd was sentenced to 12 years in prison, Julie's fate was still up in the air as she awaited the final ruling. But in a twist no one saw coming, Julie received news that would forever change the course of her probationary journey. The call came on a cool autumn morning, a day like any other in the Chrisley household. Julie has spent the last several months adjusting to life with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. After spending several years in the public eye, much of Julie's life had been framed by TV cameras, but now she was adjusting to a new reality. A life marked by legal battles, public scrutiny, and personal reflection. Her probation terms had been strict, with regular check-ins, drug tests, and a curfew that kept her under constant supervision. It wasn't the life she had imagined when she was at the height of her fame, but she was determined to follow the rules, hoping that one day she could put this chapter behind her and focus on what mattered most to her family. But on that fateful day, Julie received an unexpected letter from her probation officer. The envelope, marked with an official seal, was thick and unsettling in its weight. Inside, Julie found a single page with a change that would drastically alter her day-to-day life. Her probation status had been modified. The letter stated that, after careful review, Julie had earned a reduction in her probationary sentence and would no longer be subject to some of the more restrictive terms. Julie's heart raced as she read the words over and over. Her initial reaction was disbelief. After everything she had been through, was it possible that her efforts to comply with the court's demands, coupled with her public acknowledgement of her mistakes, had led to this surprising change? The letter explained that, based on her positive behavior and compliance with the initial terms of her sentence, the court had decided to give her a second chance by lifting some of the more stringent requirements, such as the curfew and regular check-ins. However, she would still be required to complete her full probationary term and fulfill her community service obligations. For Julie, the news was both a relief and a reminder of the long road ahead. She was grateful for the break, but knew that the road to redemption would still be paved with hard work and responsibility. She immediately called her attorney, eager to understand the full implications of this change. Her lawyer explained that while the probation modification was a step in the right direction, it didn't mean the end of her legal troubles. There were still unresolved matters, including Todd's sentence, that hung heavily over the family. Julie's mind raced with questions. Could she now rebuild her life with a semblance of normalcy, or would the lingering legal shadows always hover over her? She thought about her children, her public persona, and the future that had once seemed so bright but now seemed clouded with uncertainty. It was clear that the Chrisley family would need to adjust to yet another new reality. Despite her relief, Julie knew that her probation change wasn't a return to the world she had once known. It was a chance to start anew, but only with hard-earned humility and a renewed sense of responsibility. The news of the probation change spread quickly, sparking mixed reactions from both fans and critics. Many were surprised at how swiftly Julie had managed to earn this shift, given the severity of her initial sentence. Some speculated that her compliance with the court's demands and her public appearances had helped sway the decision in her favor. Others, however, questioned the fairness of such a decision, pointing to the serious nature of her crimes and wondering if the legal system was being too lenient. Julie's supporters, however, celebrated the news as a sign of hope. They pointed to her dedication to staying out of trouble, her active involvement in her children's lives, and her efforts to stay grounded despite the chaos surrounding her. She had publicly acknowledged her mistakes, demonstrated remorse, and made efforts to move forward in a positive direction. For many, this change was seen as a reflection of Julie's willingness to face the consequences and take responsibility for her actions. As Julie navigated this unexpected shift, her thoughts turned to Todd. He had always been her rock, and the thought of being separated from him for so long weighed heavily on her heart. She wondered how their family dynamic would change in the coming months. With Todd serving his prison sentence, Julie would now have more space to focus on her own journey. But the absence of her partner in life would undoubtedly cast a long shadow over every step she took. Julie had been through so much already. From the public fallout to the emotional toll the entire ordeal had taken on her family. But through it all, she had remained a resilient figure, determined to hold her family together and stay strong in the face of adversity. As the news of her probation change became the topic of conversation among the Chrisley family and their inner circle, one thing was clear. This was a pivotal moment in Julie's life. It wasn't a cure-all or a guarantee that everything would go back to normal, but it was a chance for her to prove that change was possible. Julie knew that the future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, she felt a glimmer of hope. She had been given a second chance, and it was up to her to make the most of it. As she sat down to reflect on her new reality, Julie Chrisley understood that this probation change was just the beginning of a new chapter, one that would require strength, perseverance, and unwavering commitment to her family and her own redemption. In the end, Julie's journey was far from over. But with each step, she was learning to move forward, leaving behind the mistakes of the past and embracing the possibility of a brighter, more hopeful future.